I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is putting on a clinic for prosecutorial perfection, and she is outright becoming Donald Trump's worst nightmare, and she just gave a preview of the devastation that is going to befall Donald Trump when it is his turn to go to trial in the felony RICO case in Georgia. So here's what went down. You had some of Donald Trump's RICO co-defendants. Remember, there's 19 co-defendants, including Donald Trump in the RICO case. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has already secured one guilty plea already of Donald Trump's RICO co-defendants, but two of the RICO co-defendants, one Ken Chesebro, Donald Trump's former lawyer, and the other Sidney Powell, who I believe to be Donald Trump's former lawyer. She went on TV and represented herself as such and held press conferences as such, although she claims she isn't Donald Trump's lawyer, or wasn't Donald Trump's lawyer. Anyway, they elected a speedy trial process under Georgia state law, which required that their trials take place before November. So Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is like, that's my dream come true. I get to do a trial right now of Ken Chesebro and of Sidney Powell. Bet. Let's go. And so Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been very, very prepared for this. Ken Chesebro and Sidney Powell then tried to file all of these motions to try to get the case dismissed before trial, which is now scheduled for October 23rd. So it's like 2 weeks away. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has won and defeated all of their motions. And the Judge McAfee, is also like, what are you doing? You wanted a speedy trial. Make your arguments in front of the jury. You don't need to file all these motions trying to delay now. You elected a speedy trial. Go. But here's where it gets extra devastating, not just for Chesebro and Powell, whose trials in the next 2 weeks, but it's extra devastating for Donald Trump, because you got to look at the subpoenas, the out-of-state subpoenas in particular, that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is requesting be issued. And because there are different procedures when you're subpoenaing people out of state, you have to first request permission from your judge in your state. And then there's comity, not comedy, but comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y, with other states through a Uniform Criminal Procedure Act, where first you have to get approval from your trial judge in your state to allow you to issue the subpoena. You then go in the other state with that court's order, and then the court in the state that has jurisdiction over the out-of-state witness then is the one that ultimately compels the witness to have to show up out of state. That's the process under our federalist system of how this is all dealt with. So we have a preview of who Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis will be calling at the trial. Remember, this trial is going to be broadcast live here on the MeidasTouch Network, so make sure you're subscribed, by the way, to our YouTube channel so you can watch it live when trial starts. But who are the out-of-state witnesses that Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is calling? Among others, the chair of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel, because it's directly connected to Donald Trump, number one. And number two, Alex Jones, based on his participation in the insurrection as it relates to Ken Chesebro. Here's what the jury is going to hear. Are you ready for this? Because you have to make a prima facie showing. You got to give proof to the judge why you need these out-of-state subpoenas. So first, let's take a look at the proof that is offered about why you need, for example, let's take a look at Ronna McDaniel. Ready for this? So here is the petition that is filed by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis for the chair of the RNC, and how she's connected, how this connects to Donald Trump. And not only is Ronna McDaniel, the chair of the RNC, going to be a devastating witness in this trial that's scheduled for these co-defendants, but against Donald Trump. Ready for this? Comes now the state of Georgia by and through Fani Willis, the district attorney, seeking this testimony before the criminal prosecution. The above styled matters a criminal prosecution currently scheduled for trial October 23rd, 2023. Defendant Ken Chesebro is charged with 1 count of violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 1 count of conspiracy to commit impersonating of a public officer, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit false statements and writings, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit filing false documents. And Sidney Powell is charged with similar crimes. Wayne County, Michigan resident Ronna McDaniel is a necessary and material witness to the proof of the state's case, specifically as to Ken Chesebro's culpability. Ken Chesebro is Donald Trump's former lawyer. Ronna McDaniel served as chairperson of the Republican National Committee in the weeks following the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. As set forth in the indictment, Chesebro, along with co-defendant Donald Trump, John Eastman, and others, are being charged with unlawfully conspiring to cause certain individuals to falsely hold themselves out as the duly elected and qualified presidential electors in Georgia and elsewhere for the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. Within a few days of December 14, 2020, Ronna McDaniel, chair of the RNC, received a phone call from Donald Trump. John Eastman was also on the phone call and was introduced to Ronna McDaniel by Donald Trump. John Eastman told Ronna McDaniel the importance of the RNC helping the campaign to gather, quote, contingent or fake electors for the November 3rd, 2020 presidential election. On December 14, 2020, Ronna McDaniel forwarded an email titled Ray Electors Recap Final to Molly Michael, executive assistant to Donald Trump. The email contained in part a list of 6 contested states, including Georgia, and the electoral votes that had been cast for Donald Trump in each of these states. On the same day, Molly Michael responded to this email and stated, Ronna McDaniel, it's in front of him. It's in front of Donald Trump. Ronna McDaniel will provide evidence to the jury of Ken Chesebro's involvement in the conspiracy, including without limitation as it relates to communication between co-defendants Donald Trump and John Eastman regarding the conspiracy to cause certain individuals to falsely hold themselves out as the duly elected and qualified electors of November 3rd, 2020. The facts and allegations described above form the basis of Act 44 of Count 1, as well as Counts 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. Ronna McDaniel, based on information set forth above, is a necessary material witness. She possesses unique knowledge concerning communications between herself, Donald Trump, as well as communications between herself and John Eastman in the conspiracy to cause certain individuals to falsely hold themselves out as the fake elector. So she is now being subpoenaed right there by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. You ready for this one on Alex Jones, the right-wing extremist Alex Jones, how he's being brought into this? You ready for this? On November 18, 2020, Alex Jones participated in a Stop the Steal rally at the Georgia State Capitol alongside members of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and others. Listen to how chilling this paragraph is. On January 6, 2021, Alex Jones participated in the March on the United States Capitol alongside members of the terrorist group, the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and others. According to public statements made by Alex Jones, quote, "The White House told me 3 days before, we are going to have you lead to march." While using a bullhorn, Alex Jones told the crowd marching on the Capitol that this was, quote, "the Second American Revolution." Video footage shows that Ken Chesebro was marching on the Capitol alongside Alex Jones on this day in an attempt to disrupt and delay the January 6, 2021 joint session of Congress. Alex Jones will provide to the jury Ken Chesebro's involvement in the conspiracy, including without limitation as it relates to his participation in the march on the Capitol January 6, 2021, as well as counts 1, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19 of the indictment. So folks, Ken Chesebro's lawyers are going to try to act like Ken Chesebro's this appellate lawyer who was just writing memos, and that's all he was doing. He was just writing memorandum like a constitutional scholar for Donald Trump. And Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is going to go, no, you were with Alex Jones, who attacks the victims and the survivors of school shootings and their families, who was leading a second American revolution with terrorist organizations and white supremacist groups like the Proud Boys. You were marching alongside them, and Donald Trump was telling y'all to all do that. So you're not a normal constitutional scholar lawyer. It's going to be devastating, absolutely devastating for Chesbro to act like he's some constitutional scholar when there's evidence of that. And then Donald Trump, think about the Trump trial, the evidence that's going to be presented there. Now, remember, Trump isn't going to trial in October. It's just his co-defendants. But what I predict will happen is once Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis gets the convictions of his co-defendants, Sidney Powell and Chesbro, and you see how compelling the case is, all of the other co-defendants, they're going to enter into plea agreements, agree to testify against Donald Trump, and you're going to line up about at least half a dozen or potentially more witnesses who are all going to flip on Donald Trump after Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis wins this trial. But in the meantime, we get a devastating preview of what this is going to look like for Donald Trump. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis means business, folks. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers. It's free to subscribe. Just hit subscribe below. Also, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Go right now to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, MeidasTouch. Have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.